I talk to anybody in Dell, uh, one thing what I hear as common is, oh, Powerstor, it fits into everywhere.
We have designed the application, designed the Powerstor in a way where it fits into all kind of workloads.
How does the integration of Powerstor actually work with the way things happen in the cloud?
If customer really wants to move his workload from cloud to on-prem or on-prem to cloud or cloud to cloud,
Right.
natively Powerstor can do it.
How about privacy? How about security? How about protection of this data against something like a ransomware attack?
Rolling.
Rolling. Action.
And cut.
Hi, today we have Sarat Chandra, who's the business leader at Dell Technologies and who manages storage business for the country along with us. And he's here to talk to us about the various products and services which Dell brings onto the table and how it actually helps the customers out. So, Sarat, welcome. And I'm glad to have you here with us today for the show.
Thanks, Suman. Very delighted to be a part of it, and more excitingly, representing one of the best brands of the world, right? Who has the best products, a mix of best technologies. I hope I'll be able to give you a right communication to everyone, which helps it simplify to everyone. Yeah,
so, Sarat, I understand that you're responsible for driving one of the most powerful storage solutions, taking that to the customers, and we are obviously talking about Powerstor. So, why is it called so powerful?
Hey Sumant, see, in today's world, right, there are more and more workloads which are demanding more power, right? Which is where everybody is looking at more powerful devices. That's where we have launched a device called Powerstor.
Right.
It doesn't mean just powerful. I'll simplify it and put it in probably 4 different ways. When we mean powerful, 1, it's fast. It should be flexible. 3rd, it should be smart. 4th, it should be agile.
Right.
And when I mean agile, it's more about future proof. Right? Because any customer who's looking into today's technology do not want to work locked into one vendor, and he also looks at different workloads, how it would function on it, and it should more importantly, he looks at how either a traditional workload works or more importantly a cloud native workload works. So end-to-end cloud workloads, right? When I mean fast, what does it mean to customers? This is probably one of the storage what we have launched in the market, which is compatible to run both NVMe, end-to-end NVMe when I mean, right? Along with the power of SCM, storage class memory, which is the best in the industry. As you understand, right? Most of the industry was always lacking behind because disk is the slowest component in the industry. But in today's world, we have evolved it, right? NVMe being the best, the modern workloads demanding more and more power. I think with a combination of NVMe and SCM, we could give the best to the world, where it is 7 times faster, right? And 3 times more responsive when compared to any of the storage arrays, right? That's the best part. And all of this can be achieved with very, very simple, right? Simple, agile, and all these things. Now let's go to the second pillar, little being smart. How is it smart, right? Or how is it being flexible? See, every storage comes in the market, which may be more powerful, but they do not give the agility of being flexible, right? The flexibility of the architecture also we give in terms of how we say scale up or scale out. So most of the storages you either have scale up or scale out, but do not have a combination of getting into both.
Right.
This is the only storage in the industry where giving the combination of both, which can be either scaled up or scaled out. So it gives the agility to customer not to get locked in with one, and can scale as you grow. Right? And being smart. Along with this, being smart is very important because there are lots and lots of technologies which are there in the industry, but very complicated to use. So simplicity becomes very, very important. When we mean smart, we have reduced the IT work. How do we reduce? We have integrated a lot of artificial intelligence, machine learning, to ensure that we simplify a lot of things for the IT or the IT administrators and make it more easier, and the storage can manage things on their behalf where they don't have to look at it. Be it a workload management, be it a balancing of the workloads, all of these things can happen using our AI and ML. And all of this comes inbuilt. You don't have to look at it separately, right? And we're not locking it, right? When we say all of this comes along with the future-proof agility. what do you mean by future-proof? The architecture what we have built comes with a containerized version. So this way, you can deploy new services as it comes without even altering your configuration. At the same time, we give seamless upgrades to data in place upgrades, right? You can just change the controller, put a new controller, right? The data will be intact. So tomorrow, even if there's a new technology, he doesn't have to worry about it.
Right.
That's what we mean powerful. This is what builds us Powerstor to make it more powerful.
So I'm sure this must be what, 12 to 18 months since
Absolutely.
the product is being launched. So how do you see the acceptance of this offering in the market?
Sir,
How many customers have been buying this technology?
Yeah, I should say it is very, very fast paced. It's really adaptable. We are receiving a lot of positive response. I mean, just to give you a market perspective, right? This is consecutively the fourth quarter where we're going in the mid-range business.
Right.
Right. When I mean mid-range business, the Powerstor being a mid-range array with an enterprise class features, we're seeing a lot of focus. And best part is, more than 30% of the customers of the Powerstor are net new customers.
Right.
Which means our our customers who are using our competitive products are also looking at our technology, right? And this is becoming a benchmark to the industry, right? We are the one in the market where we're setting up new benchmarks, where a lot of people adapt and try and be like that, right?
Right.
Because it's as like I informed you, this gives a lot of flexibility. And this just not about the words, right? If you look at our market share, we've increased 193 basis points in the last quarter. Right, last year, right, when you look at the IDC. So this all pros in by ensuring that, the predominant driver of this entire mid-range is again Powerstor. This is what is really giving that agility and ensuring that, we gain that market share.
In the data era, you'll have access to even more data and more compute power. You'll be able to do more than you ever imagined to fuel progress and innovation. Dell EMC Powerstor is designed with a data-centric architecture that is intelligent and highly adaptable, enabling IT to support any workload anywhere without creating additional complexity. On the one side, Powerstor gives you a competitive edge by unlocking the power of your data. How? By combining end-to-end NVMe, leading-edge hardware design, scale-up and scale-out capabilities, and a 4-to-1 data reduction guarantee. It delivers performance, storage efficiency, and scalability to support traditional and modern workloads without compromise. On the other side, Powerstor uses intelligent automation and simplified management to drive efficiency and lower operating costs. Built-in artificial intelligence and machine learning analyze and evaluate resource levels, application demands, and storage use to maintain system balance and improve performance. Powerstor is highly programmable. This enables IT to streamline application development and automate storage workflows by integrating with VMware and popular DevOps management frameworks. Administrators can also use Cloud IQ predictive analytics to proactively monitor storage use, performance, and health. But most importantly, Powerstor brings storage into the modern digital age with an adaptable architecture that enables speed and application mobility with apps on, so applications can run directly on the appliance. From the edge, to the core, to the cloud, you have the flexibility to choose many deployment options while maintaining consistent operations. As part of our future-proof program, you can deploy Powerstor with confidence, knowing your investment is protected, while transforming at your own pace with anytime upgrades. Dell EMC Powerstor, designed for the data era.
Right. So you mentioned about mid-range, right? So mid-range solutions, when it comes to Dell Technologies, you obviously have multiple solutions within your portfolio itself. For example, Unity, the one which was there earlier, and which continues to stay there, and a lot of customers are still adopting it. When you have such a huge portfolio of mid-range solutions, where exactly does Powerstor fit into the bill?
Very, very nice question. I would say, importantly, any point of a time, Dell believes in one phenomenal thing, which one t-shirt doesn't fit all. Right? Because there are different kind of workloads, different kind of demanding parameters, different kind of data centers, different kind of pocket sizes available with the customers. So which is where we come back and say, not one product can fit into everywhere. This is where we have different flagship products like Compal and Unity, right, Powerstor. And when you look at Powerstor, right, we obviously define like what I've told you, for either wherever customers require very, very performance intensive workloads, like let's say somebody is demanding for lesser latency, lower response time, and more demanding workloads. Because today's world, you see that a lot of remote working has increased the workload on the data centers, right? Which is demanding too much. I mean, which is an unanticipated workload. The storage should be capable of handling this. Right. This is where the Powerstor has come into the picture, where they can start small, like Agile, start small with as low as 2 controllers, right? Probably some amount of drives, and have a combination of storage class memory or NVMe drives, and scale up or scale out, which is what I spoke about, right? As and when the workload demands, the customer doesn't have to limit himself, right, to hold this. So we give an architecture where it can scale as you grow. So that's where the Powerstor fits in, and trust me, this gives a phenomenal response from the market.
So this is the best thing. When I talk to anybody in Dell, one thing what I hear as common is, oh, Powerstor, it fits into everywhere. Does that mean that, is it a way of you positioning the product with everyone, or does it really mean that, the product really fits into every single place?
Nice question. Frankly saying, the simple answer is yes, but one day, as I said, be it a traditional workload, be it a modern workload, be it a data analytics, be it a cloud native workloads, be it a modernized application, be it a traditional workloads, again, be it any kind of application, right? We have designed the application, designed the Powerstor in a way where it fits into all kind of workloads, right? Right? The power it can give, or the agility what it can give, or the scalability what it can give, or the data centric way what we have designed this in terms of the architecture. It's really gives all the kind of parameters to customer, which is why they say that one architecture which can fit into all pockets or all places as Powerstor.
So what I hear normally whenever I talk to any customers is that they do talk about data reductions, duplication, deduplication, compression kind of ratios, and when we talk about Powerstor, we talk about 4x data reduction. Now, how does that happen?
See, very interesting question, very delighted. I was always wanting to address this point, right? Because very exciting feature of a Powerstor where we go ahead and communicate to customers. One way to say is you do not have to invest in the larger capacities when you're looking at a larger capacities. Instead, what we can do is you can look at it 1/4 of the space, the lowest, right? Compared as low as 20x lower as well.
Right.
So one important thing what I wanted to highlight when it comes to your industry is, one, we are saying that 4:1, which means 4x of deduplication is minimum, versus the industry speaks about 3x or 4x as the maximum, and it can go as high as 20:1. We have a lot of customers who come back and say, we are getting more than 20:1. So that's the kind of efficiency. How does it happen? The second part of it, right? It happens by using a dedicated card. Unlike most of the controllers which are available, we have built a separate engine to ensure that the deduplication and compression happens. With this, one, customer doesn't have to really invest so much, right? And second, we are offloading this work to a dedicated engine. This is not occupying your controller space, through which what is happening, your performance is not compromised, right? Which is very important. Obviously, we do not want to get your performance compromised at the cost of your money. So we have given a dedicated engine which can manage that, and we are guaranteeing that. Imagine, how many people do really guarantee that, for 5 years we can give you a guarantee, or 3 years we can come back and give you a guarantee as far as your service contract applies. So that's the guarantee we're coming back and saying 4:1 is the minimum deduplication ratio which you're getting. So this way, even if customer wants 100 terabyte, he really doesn't have to invest on 100 terabyte. All he has to do is just invest in 25 terabyte. If it doesn't work, it's Dell's responsibility to give anything additional at free of cost.
Makes a lot of sense. By the way,
imagine how many vendors are giving this kind of an assurance.
Very right. And whenever we talk about this particular data reduction, 4x of data reduction, right? Does it apply to only a certain kind of data, or is it universal?
See, obviously, there are different kinds of data available, predominantly, right? But anytime when Dell gives an assurance, right, what we do is we analyze the data before we give any kind of a commitment. Right. But most importantly, so to say, around 80 to 90% of the workloads we would be able to achieve that.
Right.
The 10% always are exceptional, right? With probably which comes with a pre-compressed or pre-detubed data.
Right.
But most of the scenarios will be able to achieve this, and the good part is, as I've informed you, we'll be able to achieve more than what we are committing.
Right.
Not one customer has come back to us and said we're getting lesser. Always
Right.
customers come back and say we're getting more than what we are getting. That's the happiness. That's why we see these customer stickiness, right, to us. Second, they're very excited. Third, with all of this, they're getting super powerful, right?
Right.
There's no compromise in the performance, which is very, very important. A lot of vendors, what I've seen, or a lot of technologies, what I've seen, always comes with a little compromise or a overhead on the utilization, right? Versus us, we are not putting any overhead. That's the best part of it. So this way, it is a win-win for them. One, he doesn't have to invest so much; he's getting it at a lesser cost. Second, obviously the best technology. Third, lesser space, more powerful. Data center footprint is less power, less cooling, all of this. So it's win-win. Ultimately, a happy situation.
Will I be right if I say that this kind of results have been achieved predominantly because you're using a lot of this particular storage in the end-to-end SSD or NVMe drives, which is being used? And also, while you answer that, I will also post my next question along with it. Does it also mean is it the end of era for SaaS and ML SaaS?
Now I'll take this into two parts. One, the first question, like what you asked, is it only achievable using NVMe and SSD? Maybe yes, maybe no. I'll not really debate on that point. See, but there are two aspects to it, right? You achieve the result by compromising on the performance, by not compromising on the performance, like what I was highlighting. So as far as the overhead utilization is not there, and if we are able to promise a sub-millisecond latency, which I always keep highlighting, or the response time, which is less than a millisecond, right? How many vendors in the industry do come back and say, I can do this, right? At zero compromise, and scale as you grow, right? We're not telling that this is the upper limit. There's always a point where in every storage, you reach an upper limit of a performance. But we are telling, as you scale out, your performance is not compromised. So there's no limit anywhere, which is why you're seeing. So we believe that performance is very important. While the performance is important, the customer should also be able to save, right, a lot in the space savings, right, using your deduplication and compression. Third, he should get the best in the technology. Obviously, see, as the technology evolves, everybody wants to adopt the technology, right? And this is the latest in the technology. Rather than being a late follower, we always want to be leading the market by showing the way to the customer.
We've always seen that in Dell, right? Dell has always been leading the way when it comes to that. So can I say that, so basically while SSD and NVMe are going to change the landscape, yes, there are going to be workloads which are going to take, wherein we would require SaaS and NSaaS kind of drives as well.
Absolutely.
So technologies are going to exist together, right? So also that actually parks me on to the next question, which basically says that Powerstors, since they come with such kind of performance promise, does it apply only for large enterprises, or even small enterprises and medium enterprises can even adopt that?
Very good question. See, many of my customers has this question coming into their mind. While the technology is good, the features what you're giving is really promising, right? With Powerstor, as rightly quoted, we call it as a mid-range storage.
Right.
The reason why we call it mid-range storage is it is the first mid-range storage which is coming into the industry with an enterprise class features,
right,
where no one else is giving, right? And the beautiful part is it starts as low as Powerstor 500 and can scale out as much as possible, right? With any kind of a technology. That's why we call it scale up, scale out kind of
right.
thing. And with that, I also explained you about deduplication ratios. Customer doesn't have to invest in 4x of what is investing, cutting down. All of this comes with zero compromise.
Right.
That's where we say it's not really meant only for large customers. It's as even a startup, right? It's good enough for a pocket size of even for a startup.
Very right.
I mean, the pocket size of even for startup. Not to criticize that the startups are good, low, but even if it's a low pocket size, it can very well fit inside that.
Right.
That's what I mean.
So anyway, since we were talking about the market as such, right? We said we're going to have it's going to fit in even the SMB, the mid market, or even the larger enterprises. Now, while I say that, there's one technology which commonly being used with most of these organizations in all this segment is VMware, and also VMware happens to be a Dell company. So, how good or how well is the integration between this technology with the VM world?
Oh, very good question again. Right. See, our products are very tightly integrated with VMware when it comes to the VMware technologies. First, it natively supports virtual volumes,
Right.
vVols. Right. That's a fundamental of VMware world, right?
Very right.
Second, we natively integrate with a lot of functionalities of VMware like vCloud Foundation or vRealize Ops or kind of these plugins, which helps customers to tightly integrate with the VMware and also gives a flexibility of operating the best of two worlds. In today's world, if you see, VMware is the only vendor who comes unifying both the best of the both worlds, which is containers as well as virtual machines.
Right.
So that is where we show a tight integration with VMware, and natively everything is supported.
Right.
This, what do we mean? Instead of taking 15 days to 20 days for deploying a resource, it will happen over seconds.
Right.
Not days, we're talking about
Right.
seconds. That's the kind of capability what we have built.
See, this is fantastic, right? Especially when you have a lot of customers who are actually using, having a virtual environment with them, and they would ideally want a technology which comes and fits into that particular bill, and it totally makes sense. And there's one more technology which actually which is going to make sense to us while we talk on this, is that there is an amazing speed or an acceleration which we see in the market where customers are going and adopting cloud.
Right.
And cloud predominantly you see, especially in the startup community, where a lot of innovation is also happening in the cloud, and they're born in the cloud, right? So when that happens, how does the integration of Powerstor actually work with the way things happen in the cloud? I mean, be it AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud, how does it work?
Very interesting question again. See, in today's world, like what rightly mentioned by you, every customer is looking towards cloud, right? Either one part of the workload or majority of his workloads are adapting to the cloud.
Right.
Right. So it becomes very important for us to integrate and show the path to the customer in terms of how we can seamlessly integrate the workload, where he can get the agility,
right,
of moving his workloads either from cloud to on-prem or on-prem to cloud or cloud to cloud. So this is where Powerstor plays a very, very important role. Right? We allow customers not to get locked inside one cloud, and we give that agility by integrating with a vCloud Foundation.
Right.
By natively, if customer really wants to move his workload from cloud to on-prem or on-prem to cloud or cloud to cloud,
right,
natively Powerstor can do it, and this doesn't come at additional cost. All it is natively inbuilt and gives that flexibility. This way, customer doesn't get locked in. Second, as and when his workload demands, if he wants to really get that workload to on-prem to ensure that he gets a better response times, better SLAs, better securities, right, and better way of handling the things, then obviously he can seamlessly move it, and with zero disruption, all this can happen. That's the kind of integration we are providing, and this is not with one cloud vendor. Name any cloud vendor. Right, I think the highest amount of compatibility of clouds is there with the vCloud Foundation,
right,
and tightly integrated with our Powerstor.
Very right. So basically, what is happening in this case is that customers are able to get that on-demand kind of elasticity.
Absolutely,
in terms of,
on-demand,
having a lot of
right.
storage.
See, these days cloud burst has become normal, right? Unanticipated workload, right? These times there should be always a flexibility and agility in terms of moving his workload. Or probably if additional workload is there, how does he put it on cloud?
Right.
So unplanned workloads, unplanned demands which are coming into that, cloud integration becomes really important. That's why Powerstor really plays a critical role.
Yeah, makes sense, because today is a world of multi-cloud environments,
yes,
and
absolutely.
Keeping this in place, your on-prem part is actually taken care of pretty well, and then again the balance of having workloads happening going across various cloud is going to make a lot of sense to the customers. Yeah. So again, since anyway we are talking about multiple different technologies which are there, obviously customers would want to have an environment which is very developer friendly. They would want to have, they want to deliver the services in the form of containers.
Absolutely.
So when we talk about containers and Kubernetes for that matter, now how well does that fit into the story of Powerstor?
Question really excites me, right? Because today's world, every organization is talking about DevOps, containerization, right? How they can really adapt into the new containerization work. This kind of place where we can confidently speak is the Powerstor operating system is first natively built on containerization.
Right.
And that should give you a perspective of how easy it is. And second, most importantly, be it a CSI, be it an Ansible, be it a VRO, everything plugin can be easily integrated, tested, right? With this, usually a container deployment takes days.
Right.
Days. When I mean days, there are times where it takes more than 15 to 20 days, months to get
Right.
versus the automation what we have built, an IT administrator or an IT manager, right, can look at it and deploying in seconds. That's the kind of agility. And with all of this, right, there's zero compromise in performance.
Right.
I keep always highlighting this because it's built to be
Right.
not taking that overhead. And as I mentioned you, all of this can be managed using a simple HTML5 web browser inside his mobile. Imagine an IT administrator sitting at home deploying a container from his phone. That's the agility what we are giving.
Right.
Right? How many vendors do this? No one.
Very true.
That's the kind of agility, flexibility, and integration we are getting inside the Powerstor. This is why we call it as future of storage.
This is like technology at your fingertip.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The right word.
So yeah, does when we talk about these kind of things, right? One thing which primarily hits us is that fine, there is a good amount of human intervention to do things. At the same time, the idea is how can we automate the entire process? How can we make these machines more intelligent? And how can things can happen but all by itself? So what amount of artificial intelligence is actually built into this particular technology?
See, when we speak about AI and ML, it's natively integrated. When I mean what amount, lots of things what can be automated.
Right.
We spoke about how a resource can be deployed in second versus days.
Right.
One different kind of plugins which can be integrated, which can be automated. Second, most importantly, IT administrators always worry about how do they balance their workloads. Right. Which is very, very important. Now you have 4 or 5 critical production workloads, 4 or 5 non-critical workloads. The IT administrator always has to juggle in terms of how the demanding workloads come and adapt according to that,
Right.
and change different configurations every time there's a new demand coming from. Versus the Powerstor, lot of things are automated. It's like you sit on it, let it manage, it will do it.
Right.
Second thing, right, most importantly, as you scale up, if you put a new controller, it always becomes difficult for the IT administrator to relocate a lot of volumes and put inside that and balance. Look
Very
at the
right.
controller load, put the balance correctly. Versus if you put a Powerstor, all you have to do is just add the new pair of controllers or new array. It will automatically rebalance everything on its own. So imagine, you don't have to relocate your data, rebalance your data. All you have to do is just put it. It detects on its own. It rebalances, and this is just a glimpse of it. Right. Lots and lots of features where you can sit and talk about it for hours and hours together on how it's automated.
Very true.
That's where we talk about simplicity, right?
Right.
We are reducing the work of the IT because not every company is meant to do or IT or have hands-on experience of doing IT, right? Which is where technology companies like Dell EMC wants to simplify things and let the storages manage and give them more time to do their core work than spending their time on IT. That's our key thing.
By the way, does it also mean that the data which is basically sitting on this particular storage is secure enough? In other words, what I'm trying to ask you is, how about privacy? How about security? How about protection of this data against something like a ransomware attack or something like that? How does that?
Very interesting question. In today's world, I think everybody is worried about cybersecurity.
Right.
There's no second way of thinking about it. When you talk about cybersecurity or how safe is the data, first thing, all I can guarantee is the data is very secure at Powerstor.
Right.
We use some kind of an encryption, right, where data always is encrypted before it enters the storage. That means nobody can read the data. Right? It's a kind of code what you're putting inside it. And this encryption is a 256-bit encryption.
Right.
As good as what a bank uses.
Very right.
Right. And other than that, the drives, it's not at just software level, right? We also looked at the hardware level, and we give self-encrypted drives. So even at a hardware level, so it's like giving double security to your data.
Right.
That's the kind of assurance what we're giving to customer that you don't have to worry about anything. And with this, Dell always have something called cyber recovery solutions. Definitely look at that. Everybody talks about, while everybody talks about how do you detect, how do you protect yourself, we talk about after detecting, after impacted, how do you recover your data?
Very
That's a beautiful part about our story.
Very right. So, you said this technology carries artificial intelligence built into it. It supports containerization. It works beautifully with the virtual, VMware environment or any other virtual environment for that matter. And it gives, 4x kind of data reduction. I mean, this must be a blessing in disguise for people who are trying to manage humongous amount of data and asking for a lot of performance, right?
Absolutely.
And that also brings to the most important question, saying that is it expensive?
Absolutely not. That's what I said. It can fit inside everybody's pocket, right? The kind of technology what we are offering, we have made sure that we have taken a lot of feedback from our customers, right, and developed a product which is grounds up. Right. When I mean grounds up, it can fit inside every pocket. It not necessarily means like what you asked a question for a large enterprise. Even an SMB or a small scale customer who doesn't have a large scale pocket can rightfully invest in this product and be worry free. Right. So that means it is not an expensive product. No.
So you're the man for the product. Do you give a lot of discounts?
Absolutely. I mean, it's not about the discount only, right?
Right.
But a lot of technology, everything, and obviously it's a win-win situation. We do not want to lose out anywhere, right? So let's work at a place where everybody is happy. And I've never seen a customer walking away being unhappy about either the price aspect of it or the technology of it. Obviously, when we design a product, we ensure that all these aspects are built inside it, so that it can make everyone happy about it. And
very right.
As I told you, if in the mid-range we're gaining the market share and 30% of the customers are new customers, and when I say that it is designed for small and medium business, so that means you should understand that product is priced in a very, very good way.
Right, very right. So, see, Sharat, so you have personally spent a lot of time in this industry as such. You have been interacting with a lot of customers, helping them out, in buying the right set of or adopting the right set of data management solutions in place.
Mm-hmm.
How similar or different was your journey when you compared to what you had done earlier to your journey with Dell Technologies as such?
Yeah, I would always say Dell Technologies as ahead of a leap, right? If you look at it, Dell Technologies, right? First enterprise class storage array was got into the industry by Dell Technologies.
Right.
First RAID concept, first replication, right? First end-to-end NVMe.
Right.
It's not one first, right? There are lots of firsts. I mean, any product what we design, we almost have more than 1,000 patents.
Right.
Right. When we say more than 1,000 patents, all this has not come from 1 year, right? It's come from years of experience. When we are first in everything, that means we have done enough of research and we continue to do our research in that.
Right.
Right. We almost invest around 12 billion of money into the research and development to ensure we take a lot of feedback from the customers. One. Second, we put that research and we develop these kind of products to stay ahead of the technology.
Right.
Right. And it should be user friendly. One, we give that very important. Third, obviously it's most industry certified. If you look at, when I talk to you about the confidence, right? With the confidence, saying that it is not meant for one application workload. Any kind of workload. When I say any, right? I don't name one or two. Any kind of workload, any kind of pocket. This is one company which leads the path, right? And obviously it's not being we being the number one, obviously. It's not for one quarter, which shows in the market, right? That 1 out of every 2 arrays or 1 out of every 3 arrays is manufactured by them. We're very proud to say that.
Very right.
That means, to give you one more context, right? 99% of the Fortune 500 companies use our technology. We confidently say that, right? Why do they use? Because we are ahead of the league, right? We always understand customers' problem, try and resolve with our technology. So, I mean, at times I go back and ask customers, right? A very open statement. Tell me one scenario what technology cannot solve. I mean, you can hardly find a scenario, right?
Very right.
Most of the scenarios can be resolved by the technology. That's the confidence, right? And good part is Dell has end-to-end portfolio.
Right.
We don't talk about client, right? I have edge, core, cloud. We talked about application modernization as well, right? How many companies do really have the capability of application modernization?
Very right.
Or talking from edge to core to cloud. So I think end-to-end portfolio really gives that confidence.
So Sharad, that actually brings me to the most important aspect, or probably the most important belief what we had as an organization, as Chavans Technologies, when we headed out saying that okay, we are going to be in this business of system integration, and we want to help customers out a lot in terms of making sure they get the right set of services as well as the right set of technology in place. One of the primary things what came into my mind is, which is that technology vendor or a technology service provider whom I can rely on, and I don't need to be worried about when I go take these technologies or products and services to my customers. How can my credibility or my organization's credibility be at a high stake when I present it to my customers out here in the market? And I'll vouch on this, saying that Dell Technologies was right on top of our mind, and with EMC also coming into the picture, that was like cherry on the cake, and we were able to give a lot more value addition when it came to services to our customers. If you can also throw some light in terms of how is that this particular partnership has actually made a lot of difference to our customers, I think that will kind of give good perspective.
Customers, when they're looking at adapting a data center or a
Right.
solution or kind of problem solving, right? It's very important for them to choose the right set of system integrator or the technological partner who can do a partnership with them.
Right.
When I mean right technology partner, because this is not a journey what customer is doing it as a transactional purpose or at one time, right?
Correct.
It's more of a transformational journey. So it's very important for a customer to choose the right transformational partner who can help him in this digital transformation or either a workforce transformation, what is happening. That place, I think, Chavans excels, right? When I mean excels, they've got the capability of bringing the holistic solution to the customer and making it simplified, right? Rather than making it complicated, understanding their needs, making it simplified by holistically bundling it with their services and support, right? By making you available, just a call away or kind of 24/7.
Very true. Yes.
Right? So I think very important to help them adapt this kind of technologies. That's where your skill is coming in, and we couldn't find a better partnership than Chavans, because of your skill set, your approachability to the customers, the way the customers show your confidence in you, as well as you're helping us to extend the reach of us, right?
Right.
It's a joint beneficiary coming
Absolutely
to
right.
and I would definitely say that if a customer is looking at it, top of my mind, I would always say, why don't you look at Chavans? That's the kind of confidence and trust I always have.
Thanks for those lovely words, Sharad. And in fact, while I as well thank you for the entire thing, I'll have to say that this actually brings us on the note that together we are more powerful, and we are able to add a lot of value to our customers, and we will continue to do so as what we have done till date. And on that note, I'll say thank you very much for spending your time with us in spite of your busy schedule. And I really hope that we're going to have a couple of more sessions of this sort, wherein we're going to have a lot more conversations which can be helpful for our customers as well. So
thank you, Simran. Thank you for giving me an opportunity. It was wonderful to have this conversation with you. Always love to have our partnership and this kind of conversations. I would definitely be looking forward to host more kind of this kind of events, or for that matter, more conversations like this, which would really help. Let's work together.
absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much, Simran.